Hello, this is Mark Smith with Family Tree Counseling Associates. As you can see, I'm still at the beach. Had a wonderful week here in Myrtle Beach. And the topic of the video today is in the wake of integrity. Those of you who have read my writing through the years know that one of the very most special places for me that I enjoy is the back of a cruise ship, like a really big ship with the wake that covers about 4 football fields. I just love that. For some reason, I find that to be sacred and spiritual. Every time I'm on the back of a cruise ship, I just start praying and reflecting and meditating and writing and thinking about important things. And I took a concept from a book. The book is called Integrity, and it's by an author that many of you are probably familiar with, Henry Cloud. He wrote the famous book on boundaries. And you would think that a book on integrity would focus on such things as honesty, moral character, ethics. But Dr. Cloud, in his book Integrity, actually only takes those characteristics as a given. And he moves into characteristics that are a lot harder to work on and develop consistently in your life. So his concept is you can tell a lot about a ship by its wake, and you can tell a lot about a man or a woman by the wake of people that they have impacted in their lives and left in that wake through the years, as they have impacted partners, marital partners, organizations, businesses, communities, children. Dr. Cloud's book is really well written and well thought through, and I thought excellent. And the focus of the book isn't on those ethical concepts that we would normally associate with the word integrity. By the way, that word is my favorite word in the English language, because as a recovering addict, the thing that you lose is you do lose your integrity as a functioning addict. And as somebody in recovery, one of the fruits of your recovery is you regain your integrity. But the author, who is a psychologist and does consulting for businesses, he focuses more on character defects and dysfunction and blind spots that can and do cause damage to all aspects of your life. He focuses in the book mainly on CEOs and the effect of their quirks, their dysfunction, their blind spots on business, but it's very applicable also to marriages and really any relationship in any organization. So one of my staff members gave me this book to read, suggesting that I perhaps had some areas of growth that could be mined into. So you really pay attention when somebody who works for you gives you a book on how your dysfunction is impacting the organization. So I did. I paid very serious attention. I listened to the book twice. The truth is that we all have character defects and dysfunction and blind spots. And in a marriage and in a family, the two parents are the architects of that family. When somebody brings in a teenager or a child to our offices, We insist that mom and dad not only come, but that they are the center of the work. The problem is not the kid, the problem is the architects. And when things go wrong in business, you don't start with the people on the bottom. You start with the architects who are making the decisions that impact the organization. There's an old saying, it says, the fish stinks from the head down. So in our particular organization of Family Tree Counseling Associates, of course, it's a pretty healthy place to work, actually, but there has been some dysfunction, and I'll get into that. But being a what Cloud would call an integrated person, or what I might call, and Jerry Wise might call, an individuated person or a healthy person, aware person, means that you really are keenly aware of your issues in these areas, and through accountability and personal therapy, personal coaching, continued learning, and hard work, and openness to feedback, you seek to minimize the damage that is done to others in your wake. When I was thinking about this topic, I thought of the Penn State scandal. And I'm not thinking of his name right now. His first name was Jerry, the linebacker coach at Penn State. He has a pretty infamous name, but I've got the starting to not be able to remember words, thing going on, the old man syndrome. But you know who I'm talking about. And what a crushing collection of people that man left in his wake. Joe Paterno got sullied. He didn't speak up. He sullied himself. But the program, all those children who turned into adults that this man molested, all the football players that were affected by it, the fans, his wake impacted millions of people and destroyed people. And we have that ability. Not many of us had a wake or the influence of a wake like Hitler. Talk about one man's bitterness and victimhood and hatred affecting and killing millions and millions of people. As a counterdependent, by definition, even a recovering counterdependent is going to tend to be controlling, because we felt out of control growing up, and it's just our nature to try to arrange to have control here and now, because we didn't have it when we were little, and we don't want to feel out of control. We don't want to feel chaos. It makes us very nervous. Also, by definition, counterdependency means oblivious. Recently, I found out that our contact us box from our website, which we normally get 3 or 4, 5 people asking us for help in various areas a week, and it's been down for 2 or 3 months, and I didn't notice. I mean, that's oblivious. I just didn't notice. I just have a lot of things on my plate. And so other characteristics of a counterdependent, they tend to be critical. They tend to be very driven. Michael Jordan, when he would practice, he would get really angry, sometimes at the other players, and sometimes he would punch them, and he certainly would yell at them. So he was very counterdependent, very critical, and very insensitive to players who couldn't quite do it the way he could do it. So this counterdependency has been a blessing and a curse. It's helped me to be a strong therapist, but at times not a very flexible therapist. And in my management style through the years, it's put some people in my wake that weren't always a positive experience, wasn't always a positive experience for them. And so it's with real sadness that I reflect on various people that were harmed in the wake of my dysfunctions and the lack of a more mature level of integrity. Certainly, my ex-wife was impacted by my addiction, and I regret that with all my heart and soul. And my kids were impacted. My kids are doing great, but they were harmed. And there's been various associates through the years that just didn't, we just didn't connect. So to these very special people, I offer my very deepest and most sincere apologies. So the truth is that in terms of dysfunction, both in companies and in families, we don't all start from the same level of healthiness. I like to say I was raised by a pack of wolves. My family, just the dysfunction is pretty strong. You know, there's rage, there's spending addiction, there's food addiction, there's abandonment, there's family secrets, there's codependency, there's counterdependency. On one side of the family, there's sexual abuse. So a whole lot of stuff in my family. And so I was raised by wolves, and some of the younger kids in my family growing up, they have a hard time functioning. They're due to some mental health issues. And so I feel blessed through recovery just to be able to function as a normal person, but to be able to build family tree counseling into a positive force in the world and to impact the world the way it has really has been, it speaks to the grace of God and the power of recovery that I've been able to put together a staff and keep them, and till recently I don't think we had anybody leave in like 8 years, and that gal left to start something that I fully supported, and a part of her really didn't want to leave. But here's my point. What's your wake like? Who is in your wake? I'm aware of a man who, left his family and got a new woman in his life, and he just went about it in a very abrupt and reactive and harsh and mean and uninsightful way, and he doesn't realize it, but he's leaving his children in a very harmful wake, certainly his ex-wife, but his integrity, his reputation, and he doesn't know what he's doing. When you're in a new relationship or you're in an addiction, you just don't realize, that coach from Penn State, I don't think anybody realized just how sick and destructive and out of control the man was. But what is your wake? Maybe you didn't harm people by being too strong and too counterdependent. Maybe you harm people by being codependent, by maybe not having enough strength or leadership or courage to be able to stand up to whoever you needed to stand up to. But I strongly recommend Henry Cloud's book, Integrity. Any author who can challenge your blind spots really powerfully and cut really deep without even the slightest bit of shame or judgment, he must be a fellow of very high and mature integrity. And I think Henry Cloud is just that. I think he's a man with a lot of wisdom, and any of his books you would do well to read and study and learn from him. So the concepts in this book will stimulate your thinking. They will stir your areas of remorse. They will make you more, the book will make you more aware, and it'll help you be a more effective spouse, a more loving spouse, a more loving parent, and a more effective professional. So really recovery is about getting your integrity back, not just the fact that you won't lie, you won't steal, you won't cheat, that's a given, but you'll be kind, you'll be empathetic, you'll be able to really read people well, you'll be sensitive, you won't be overly controlling, you'll be wise, you'll have an aura about you of healthiness. And I have a ways to go in that department, but I'm working hard on it. And I thank my coworker and Henry Cloud for their contributions in moving me along in that direction. So if you haven't joined our YouTube channel, Family Tree Counseling, I encourage you to do that. I see we're up to 775 subscribers. They just keep subscribing out of nowhere, it seems. And I do have 6 books. 2 of them I give away for free. One of them is about marriage and about how you marry your issues. It's called Startling Insights into the Healing Powers of Marriage. Then there's a book I call The Basics, and it just goes over the basics of recovery, which include integrity, for one thing, boundaries, codependency, counterdependency, abandonment, shame, all of those issues, interdependency. Then my most recent book is called Healing Toxic Shame Through Recovery. It's all about shame, a very powerful issue. Most of you know about shame and how it can affect a marriage and a life. And the book that's thus far sold the most copies is called Managing Abandonment Through Recovery, all about the painful issues of abandonment. And then there's also a book on counterdependency called A Punch in the Mouth from a Friend. And I also have a book that I'm currently expanding on affair recovery called The Secret to Healing Your Marriage After an Affair. And you can get all these books on our website. There's a link. There's several links on the website to get the books and download them. They're digital PDF copies with a lot of pictures and a lot of live links where you can go to a link, watch a video, and then hit the return button, come right back to the book that you were reading. So, folks, I encourage you to read the book by Henry Cloud and to have integrity and to strive for more and more maturity and integrity in your life, in your marriage, and in your business at all times. That certainly is my goal. Thank you for watching, and God bless.